Hi guys, John from Advanced Detail. Now today, by popular request, we've been having a lot of requests asking for us to do a wash and decontamination process on a treated car. This is mainly for my clients, but everybody can learn from this. We do things our own way, using logic and common sense. We don't tend to follow the flock, which causes a lot of controversy. However, I believe in simplifying things when it comes to washing and decontaminating a vehicle, and in it we get really great results from the time we actually spend washing the vehicle. So we try and make the process as quick as possible to recommend to our clients, but also as simple as possible. So here's the car in question. Now you may recognise this. We did a gold detail and some platinum wet sanding on it as well. This was treated just before Christmas excuse me, and it's not been washed since, and so it's a good base to show you how to actually safely wash and decontaminate your vehicle. You can see all the road salt on it. So yes, it's been driven, it's not being washed. You can tell by the state of the alloys, it's not being cleaned. And so yeah, we're going to take you through the entire start to finish wash process on this vehicle, including drying and using a detail spray after. In this episode of Advanced Clean, Rolls-Royce Phantom
anodised things. Do they pose particular challenges?
We did a Bugatti Veyron and I messaged you about it actually, didn't I?
that one, and that one. Best lacquer. You can get, look at that. Wow.
Oh my goodness. Oh wow. Look at that.
Right, the first thing I want to talk about is the maintenance of your kit, i.e. your buckets and your wash mitt. This is very important because dirty buckets can transfer contaminants onto your vehicle that you're trying to keep clean. So what we've got in each bucket is we've got a grit guard. However, in the wash buckets that actually go on the vehicle, we have a grit guard like this that we put in the base of the bucket. And then we have a secondary grit guard which sits in the bucket like so. And what I tend to find is this is very, very useful as I rub the wash mitt against that and all the dirt drops down, and I don't have to put my hand fully in the bucket because I always wear gloves when I'm washing a vehicle. So that helps. Also, your wash mitt is very, very important, because obviously the design of a wash mitt is designed to pick up contaminants and lift contaminants from your vehicle, and so the best way to maintain this is actually with a brush. Now I use one of these solid Vicon nail brushes to brush it out, and all we do to lift these contaminants is give it a good old brush out one way. You will notice it will pull some of the fibres off, but that's not a big deal. And then brush it the other way, and I repeat this 3 or 4 times just to make sure most of those contaminants are lifted out, so you get a nice fluffy wash mitt, and just pick your hands through and pick out any little contaminants you still see. Now most will, when you rinse this before you put it in the bucket, will actually come out, but just in case they don't, it's always worth checking. First stage in the wash process, after we've sorted the buckets out, is to clean the wheels. So we start off first with Gtechniq W6, which is the iron remover. A lot of people criticise me for doing this. However, we've already treated these wheels, and the best way to maintain the wheels we've found is to use the iron remover on them, because one, the amount of contaminants that your wheels get are 95% iron related in terms of the friction that your brake pads produce against your discs, tiny metal filings come out and embed themselves into your wheels. So this is the most effective way, far more effective than using any sort of wheel cleaner, and it won't attack the coating. This particular coating is the Gtechniq crystal serum on these wheels. However, if you're using Gtechniq wheel armour, it's the same process, it works in the same way. So we start by spraying this product on. And I try and get it into the back of the wheels as well, between the spokes. Now, the reason we do this, like I say, is to we'll just leave it for 5 minutes or so, and it should start bleeding out and dissolving the iron contaminants. Now, we've found this process, we've tried all sorts of different wheel cleaners, and the coating, because you're always trying to maintain the coating you've applied, the coating always performs best, we've found, with the iron remover rather than any other wheel cleaner, and it also cleans the best. Another thing I want to talk to you about this product, the W6, the iron remover, using it on your vehicle's paint once it's been treated is the best way to maintain it periodically. We find usually every between 2 and 6 months to use this iron remover on the paintwork. Always spray it on a dry vehicle, because some people decide to pressure wash the vehicle. All you're doing, if you pressure wash the vehicle before you put the iron remover on, is you're just diluting the product so it won't work as hard. Just common sense. And also you will find is it will remove more dirt from the paintwork than snow foams, and from pressure washing alone. And also when you come to pressure wash it, it'll have also decontaminated your paintwork and the coating. The best way to get these coatings to perform is to keep them unclogged. So like I say, every between 2 and 6 months use the iron remover on a dry car that's cool, leave it to dwell for 10 minutes on the vehicle's paint, and then pressure wash it off. And what you'll find is the beading, especially on this lower half of the vehicle, is more susceptible to lose the beading from here downwards. The beading will come back because you've decontaminated and removed the iron and the crud that's actually embedded in the paintwork, and so it allows the coatings to perform, and it'll also be easier to clean the next time we do that. Now, in terms of using the iron remover on the wheels, we use it every single time we clean the vehicle, obviously because of the contaminants that are related. So every time on the wheels, every between 2 and 6 months, depending on the area you live. If you live in an industrial area with a lot of fallout, with a lot of contaminants flying about, if you live near a railway, it's obviously better to do it more frequently, but it will tell you by the amount of iron that will be running off the paintwork when you leave it for 10 minutes. Now then, we've just drafted the caddy in for some extra help, as the wheels on this particular vehicle, the Seat, aren't really bleeding as much as they should do. So what we're going to show you is, this is always a dead cert because of the brakes, Lamborghini brakes on the front. Makes a lot of brake dust, a lot of contamination every time. So what we'll do is we'll just spray some on here, just to show you from car to car what a difference it makes. Now, this vehicle was actually washed on Friday, it's now Sunday, so it won't bleed out as much as they normally would do. However, I know it will still produce the results, so we'll come back to that in a minute. We'll just show you on this vehicle. So as you can see now, it's just started to bleed there, only a little bit, but bear in mind this has been sat now for about 5 or 6 minutes, so it's obviously this type of brake is not producing as much iron as mine would do on the caddy. So I'll have a look on the caddy, and you can see the brake's just starting to turn already, and This is literally after a minute, if that, and you can just start to see it going now and turning purple. And the longer you leave it, the more purple it is. Now, the way you use the W6 is you never let it dry on the surface. What you'll find is that when it starts drying, it'll go white. When it's white, it's not working, it's dried up. So you want to try and keep it wet and remove it with a pressure washer thoroughly before it does actually dry. But that's a fairly decent demonstration of how quickly it works. You can see the discs there. What we find also is we spray it on the discs before we take a vehicle in for detail, and they're less susceptible to rust as well, which is interesting. But yeah, you can really see it start to work there now. So what we're going to do is we're going to pressure wash this off and show you briefly how clean it will get the wheel, and then we'll show you on this vehicle. You can see the iron remover there, especially at the bottom there where the light's catching it, how it's worked on the wheels. That's been sat now for about 5 minutes, so we're going to pressure wash it off and just show you on this vehicle how clean it gets the wheels. Right then, now that's just a quick pressure wash, and that just shows you how much dirt they actually remove. And yeah, it works exceptionally well, does the iron remover on a treated wheel. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move over to this vehicle and we're going to pressure wash these wheels. We'll just do one and show you how much dirt it actually removes. As you can see now, it's really starting to work there. So we're going to remove it now because it's been sat for about 7 or 8 minutes now. See the dirt removal. Now this is a classic case of showing how well iron remover actually works and helps the coatings perform. These haven't even been cleaned, but you can see the beading already between the spokes. Now once this wheel is clean, the beading will actually improve because there's still dirt on there, but we've got them really clean already just by using the iron remover and not physically touching the wheel. Right, now when it comes to washing the wheels, so we've got our wheel bucket and it's full of warm water. Now we just use regular car shampoo. In this case we've used Guyon Bathe as our shampoo. In terms of wash media that we use, we just have a cheap mitt to a small mitt to clean the wheels with, and we also use a wheel woolly. Now these are very expensive, but they are really good. We used to use brushes, but we found that the brushes scratch the wheels. Common sense, brushes will scratch paintwork, and paintwork is on the wheels. And so we try and adopt a more gentle method, try and get as much dirt and grime off as we can with the iron remover first, before we actually physically touch the wheel. So what we first start to do is we go around the tyre first. Now if these tyres are really soiled, then we'd use like a G101, some type of all-purpose cleaner. And then we start by going in with the wheel woolly and just very gently getting right to the back of the wheel and behind the spokes, all the way around. We start at the top and work our way down. I can actually feel the slickness of the coating on there because these haven't been coated long. and this car doesn't get that much use, and so it's still very slick is the coating, like it's actually just being applied. So we're just getting in behind the spokes and everywhere. Then we come along with the mitt behind the spokes properly, starting at the top and working your way down. And then in between, just nice and gently. You shouldn't need that much pressure because the water's warm, and the iron remover's done a great job at decontamination and dirt already from these. And then we do the outer rim. So we're not pulling dirt forward from the wheel over the clean surface. Now in this case of the nut recesses, then you could use a brush ultimately to get in there, but they aren't actually that dirty, so we're not going to do that this time. However, you can use a brush in there, and you don't have to worry too much about it scratching just that little surface in there, because you can't really see it. However, obviously using a wheel brush on the rim faces, you're really going to see the marks and scratches that you're going to produce, so you want to try and avoid that. So next we'll pressure wash the wheel and then repeat it for the other three, and then that's the wheels done. Now you can see the beading working already, and that shows the wheels have been decontaminated. So if I give it another spray now, you can see how it's just repelling the water really easily. Now that's exactly what you want, and it just shows that the wheels are pre-treated properly. Once the wheels are clean, we now turn our attentions to the paintwork. Now, like I mentioned to you before, this is a decontamination wash, so this should be done between 2 and 6 months. So first off, we would start with spraying the iron remover on the paint surface. But what this will actually do, because this has been treated with the Gtechniq, is this will actually decontaminate and unclog the coating. Now you'll especially notice on the lower areas of the car from the door handles down that if you have a ceramic coating, once it's been on there for a while it will stop beading. That just means the coating's clogged. It doesn't mean it's come off, it just means the coating's clogged and needs thoroughly unclogging with the iron remover. Now we've left the iron remover to dwell for about 10-15 minutes. It's not really been fetching much off, to be fair. However, it's only been a month since this has been treated, so we're not expecting it to fetch much off, but you can actually see where it has started picking up a little bit of iron. Now also you see how grimy and dirty the rear of this vehicle is, so I'm just going to show you how effective the iron remover it actually is at removing grime. Now we've tried snow foams and all sorts of things, but we found nothing's as effective as the iron remover. So you can see the difference, and that's just with the spray with the pressure washer, and we haven't even physically touched the vehicle, Now we've used snow foams for a lot of years and we've found that not even snow foam can achieve those results. This product is a lot more expensive than snow foam, however you're not using it every time on the vehicle, you're just using it periodically. We do still use snow foams, but that's just a graphic demonstration of how well the iron remover actually works on the vehicle. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pressure wash the rest of the vehicle, get the iron remover off, thoroughly pressure wash it, then we're going to go on to the hand washing stage. Another handy tip as well when using a pressure washer lance is to actually put the lance over your arm, and so it keeps, put the cord over your arm, the hose, sorry, over your arm to keep it behind you, especially when you're doing the roof. So it just keeps it away from the vehicle and stops you dragging this, because this will cause damage to the vehicle. So as you can see, if all the pressure washer there, you can see the beading start to get stronger and stronger. As it's actually been decontaminated and the coating isn't sheeting anymore, it's beading and beading really well. Now this is how clean we've got the vehicle just by decontaminating it with the iron remover and then pressure washing. So there's still little bits here and there, but that'll obviously come off with a hand wash process, and you can see the streaks where all the dirt's been pushed back, but obviously once that's hand washed then that will all come off. But most of the major contamination and soiling that would potentially damage the painting or the coating has actually come off now. Always clean your wash mitt thoroughly by dunking it in the rinse bucket against the grit guard and then wringing it out thoroughly before it goes back into the wash bucket. We do this so it's not transferring any dirty water back into the wash bucket. So what we're going to do on the side, same again, no pressure, just enough to keep the wash mitt on the vehicle. What I also do to avoid confusion between the wash and the rinse bucket is to keep the wash bucket nearest the vehicle, and so you always go to the outside when you're coming off the vehicle, go to the inside when you're going back on the vehicle. We also leave the sills and things like that till very last of all, because they're going to be the dirtiest. In fact, if they're really heavily soiled, we usually use the wheel mitt to actually clean the underneath of the sills. Now, one of the most common mistakes we see people make, especially when we do the wash training, is that they wash a bumper and they wash down to where it's dirtiest and then come back up over the car, and all that's doing is just picking up dirt from the lower half of the car and then rubbing it over the upper half of the car. So as soon as you get down to that level, you want to be straight back in your rinse bucket give it a thorough rub against the grit guard, and then back on the vehicle. So a simple rule of thumb, once you've gone down, never come back up again with the mitt, always dunk it first, give it a good rinse. And also what you'll find now we've finished the wash process is those buckets have very little water in them. The more water you can get on the vehicle, the less chance you are of scratching it and the more contaminants you're going to rinse off the vehicle without actually causing damage, inflicting damage to the paintwork. So what we're going to do now is empty these out, and then we're going to give it a good old thorough pressure wash, rinse to remove all the soap, and then we're going to talk about drying the vehicle. So the same principle on washing the vehicle applies with pressure washing it to remove the soap suds. Start at the top and work your way down around the vehicle, and make sure it's thoroughly pressure washed or rinsed off. Now you can use a hot pressure washer. We don't have that facility, we don't have the storage size to accommodate a machine like that. A lot of people ask me if it's okay to use a hot pressure washer. It is actually really good because it does loosen the dirt a lot easier. If you've got any tar spots, they're a lot more likely to come off the coating easier if you're using warm water to rinse also. Not a bad thing if you've got those facilities. However, a cold pressure washer like this has always served us fine. It still does a great job as long as you're thorough in this particular process. Now as you can see, the beadings come back on the lower half of the car. That's because we've washed all that dirt and crud off, and we've also used the iron remover, so when it does stop beading and it starts sheeting when the vehicle is actually clean at this point, then maybe next time when you clean the vehicle it's time to use the iron remover, the W6, to decontaminate and unclog the coating. Right then, we've moved the vehicle inside now to dry it off. You can do this outside, but it's getting dark now, so we've decided to pull it inside and talk about drying. So the standard way of drying is obviously one of these big fluffy microfiber drying towels. This is the most common way people are going to dry it. However, if you are posh like we are, you can also have one of these. Now this is an air force blaster. It's a 4 horsepower blower. It's really powerful. Now we'll show you how to use that also. We have clients I know that use a leaf blower to dry the vehicle. If you're going to use a leaf blower, please make sure it's a filtered leaf blower, because what happens with a filter is it traps all the dirt and contaminants that it would actually suck in. So obviously a blower, a leaf blower, has to suck air in. It has an air intake and an air outlet, which is the compressed side which blows the vehicle. It has a filter like this has, you can see the end there, that just filters anything before it actually goes through, and so it doesn't pick up tiny dust particles, dirt that can actually be pelted at your paint and damage it. So always make sure if you're going to use a leaf blower, it's a filtered leaf blower. These are very good. They aren't cheap, they're about £200. However, they're very good if you're going to park your vehicle up and leave it for any length of time after you've washed it. Like vehicles in my collection, I will tend to wash them and then dry them using this method, because it releases water from all the door shuts and everything like that, and from the mirrors you tend to get a drip of water once you dry them. It usually, if you're pretty thorough with this machine, it usually gets rid of that. So first off, we're going to show you how to use the towel. So basically you get your drying towel and you fold it in half and then half again, and all you do is just gently wipe it on the surface like that, and then flip it over to the dry side and give it another wipe, and that picks up all the remaining water like so. And as easy as that, you have a dry vehicle. Then we move on to the blow dryer, which we'll demonstrate on this side of the vehicle. These are actually very good for dry motorbikes as well, they're very, very popular. So, I'll switch it on and now, as you can see, the blow dryer is very, very effective once the vehicle's been treated. So, once the vehicle's treated with the Gtechniq or whatever type of coating you have on, it's a lot easier to dry than we're using this method. However, the towel method is still very, very effective if used properly and correctly. Another thing the blower is very good at is drying wheels. Now, every time I dry my wheels, I always use the blower. It's far more effective than using a towel because you can get into all the nooks and crannies with the blower and get into where the nuts are and remove that that water that would normally fling up the side of your car once you drive the vehicle. It also, doing this method also helps prevent your wheel nuts going rusty and rusting in the actual hubs, so it's very, very good if you're thorough with this process. So I'll just show you how we go about it. So all we'll do now, once we've blow dried that, is we'll get a towel and we'll just go around certain little areas, just in the nooks and crannies where it's just moved the water about a little bit, and then that's the wheels done. Right, once we've got the vehicle dry, what I tend to recommend to my clients and people that ask me about washing is to give it a wipe down with a detailing spray, usually something like Gtechniq C2 V3. So for that you'll need a microfiber towel. Now here we've got a brand new one. This is a Kirkland one, the Costco specials, but they aren't bad quality microfibers, to be fair. One mistake people make with the microfibers is they never tear the labels out. Now that, if you don't take it out and remove it, that's going to actually scratch the paint, or there's a chance it's going to put a mark in the paint. So always get rid of that first. Then give the microfiber a good shake, fold it in half. Same principle as the drying towel, half again. And always hold the microfiber by the edges there, because that can also mar the paintwork. And if you hold it by the edges, with your hand flat behind it, it also stops the edge folding under, which can be a pain when you're wiping down. So what we do with the C2 V3 is we just give it 3 squirts on one side, half a squirt on the other, and just apply it to the bonnet, straight lines, 1, 2, 3, like so. Put it flat down, make sure your sleeve's obviously clean, pick it up from the other side, and then just give it a wipe. As simple as that. And what you will find is it'll feel slick underneath the towel, and it won't leave any residue or marks behind. If it does leave any smearing, you're putting too much product on. So once this is saturated, which it is now, you will just require half a spray on that one side. So when we come to doing the other side, which is this side, half a spray, and same again. Just apply it nice and gently, no pressure whatsoever. We're just spreading the product over the car, turn it, and just lightly buff it off. And there we go, that's the bonnet protected. Now, what I tend to find is that using this after service washing actually protects the protection, so you're topping up the coating that's actually on there, and so it helps with beading, it helps the coating last in excess of its actual quoted time scale, and it also makes it easier to clean, and you get a nice glossy finish with absolutely no smearing from drying towel or from the blower, because that can still leave very, very tiny water spots here and there. So we recommend you use that all over the vehicle, the paint, and once that's done, you've got a nice shiny vehicle. Enjoy! So here's the vehicle after it's been washed. Bear in mind, this is nothing but a decontamination wash, and this is how the vehicle that's already been treated looks just after its wash. So this wash generally would take me around an hour and a half to complete. But as you can see, the finish is superb. So then guys, I hope that's been of interest to you, and I hope that's been a help. What I will say is there's 1,001 ways to wash a car. There's plenty of other detailers out there that have a lot of different ideas. This is just our take on the wash process. This is what we do on most vehicles that come to us. We find it the easiest way for us with our setup. So please don't message me and say, oh, you're doing it wrong, you should be doing it this way, you should be doing that. Really don't care. It works for us, so we're happy. The results speak for themselves. So like I say, I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's been of some help. Please like and comment, and please follow us on our Facebook page, our Instagram account, and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Thanks, bye for now guys.